Hello and welcome to Phillips Mill Community Association's Art Talk. I'm Laura Womack. Today, we're very proud to present the Youth Art Show. Every year at this time, we present the works of students from area high schools. This year, we represent 23 schools, working with art teachers to curate the show. We never fail to be impressed with the art they share with us. They're accomplished artists, even for so young. Their work also has a lot to say. At Phillips Mill, we've been exhibiting local art for 93 years. We're delighted every year when these young artists prove that our future of presenting moving works is secure. The ArtTalk team, including producers Jen McHugh, Dennis Riley, and Jean Mihich, have put together the following video for you. Youth Art Exhibition Chairs Susan Brussock and Kathy Schroeher talk about putting the show together. Artist and juror Bill Jersey shares his reaction to the artwork and some advice for the artists. And some award winners have made videos about their inspiration. And of course, we'll feature the artwork. Enjoy the show.
I was president of the mill at the time, and my thought was, this is a beautiful building. Why is it vacant for 4 months out of the year? That seems silly. We own the building, it should be used. It seemed to me youth art would be really fun because this is a kind of art that we don't get to see. Unless your kid's in the high school, you don't get to see that high school student's work, and much less go to a different high school and get in and see their work. So this was an opportunity to, one, use the mill, and two, bring to the community a sense of what young people are doing art-wise. I find most impressive about the Mill Show is the raw emotion you see in these pieces. And I think particularly this year with COVID, 2 years of COVID, holy moly, wow.
There are several pieces in this show that really deal with COVID straight on. Yeah, and I noticed that too, like just the variety of subject matter too. I think the feelings really come across on a lot of these paintings much more than, maybe like the big art show or like more commercial artists or whatever. What they're thinking of, what they're feeling, what's important to them, just a myriad of different emotions and views. And I think it makes the show really exciting. Like you don't see, as Kathy was saying, you don't really see stuff like this in other art shows. I think youth really captures more emotions than other art shows.
It's powerful. It's just extremely. It's an extremely powerful show. It's not intended to be beautiful. It's intended to be. The artists are like digging into themselves and expressing how they're feeling, and you don't ordinarily see that in galleries. For instance, galleries are displaying art that they hope will sell. They're not displaying art that they hope accurately reflects the feelings of the artist, and that's what this show does in spades. And there's nothing else like it out there.
what is art? What is art meant to be? And there's people maybe making a living through art or whatever, but there's also I think some artists just can't stop themselves from expressing what they want to. Like, it has to come out somewhere. It's the creativity. It has to come out somewhere. And for people who are inclined for painting or drawing or photography, the art that we have here, sculpture or whatever, it's coming out that way. And it's like an embodiment of themselves. So what is art? Does art have to sell? No, like art is an expression, and it doesn't have to really stand for anything.
I think it's they feel the need to express what they're feeling. They're like, in a way that, as we get, okay, so I paint, I don't paint my emotions because, I'd be afraid to. These kids are not afraid
Yeah.
to paint their emotions. And that is really, that's really putting yourself out there. That's making yourself vulnerable, because it's very personal.
Yes.
Extremely personal. And I salute them for doing that. It's not easy.
Well, I always think of the students and really thank them, because it's courageous to put your art out there, because people are going to look at it and they're going to comment on it. And, like in the age of social media and all this sort of stuff, this is going on all the time. And, sometimes you just don't want to hear it. And, you as an artist, you might be in a gallery that your piece is there and you're standing next to somebody looking at it, doesn't know that you're the artist, and they're going to say something maybe you don't want to hear about it, and it's very courageous. And, we thank the students for even letting us show the art. I mean, this is shown across the world. Like, if you look at the website stats, especially from last year, there were people all over the world who saw this. Once it gets on the web, it goes all out there. So, even more people look at it than just in our mill itself. So, I think it's been really great that the students have the courage to do that. And also, I tell them, your creativity, if you don't continue on with your art, like, you don't have to be an artist, you're in our show or whatever, but the whole expression of creativity and the thinking, the conceptualization, like, my background is research, okay? Molecular biology. I was doing bench research in molecular biology, but that whole research, even though it's so science oriented, it's a creative process. And some of the best scientists I knew were also artists or musicians. It's because you're using your brain in a different way. You're putting things together that are not like just right in front of you. You're pulling things in, you're creating something new. And it doesn't matter if it's with paint or with sculpture materials or whatever. You could be doing with molecular biology techniques, and just you're thinking of things kind of in 3 dimensions, that you're putting pieces together, that things that maybe don't exist, and you're trying to get there somehow. So I think the whole creative process, no matter where it comes from, is just so important for this world, and for just moving forward and learning things and contributing. So even if these students don't go on to art school, it doesn't matter. They're going to use this in another part of their lives, and it's just enhances everything.
I think the mill treats their work with respect, and I think that's really important. We treat their art the same way we treat the art of the grown-up show. It's hung well, it's lit well, it's no different than the way the art is treated in the other shows that the mill puts on. And I think that's important. And I think that the students see it, and the teachers see it, and their families see it. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, you have to give the teachers a lot of credit. I mean, just having the students, like, guiding them to think about how to approach something in a different way.
So we enlisted the teachers to essentially curate the show. they bring in the artwork, they pick the artwork, they bring in the artwork, they pick up the artwork, they do almost all,
Yeah.
all we do is hang it. Speaks volumes that the number of schools participating has risen from 10 in 2014 to 23 this year. I mean, that's a big increase. And it increased pretty substantially early on.
This year we saw a lot of digital art. So this is the first year we had the digital art and photography category. Before we just had photography. And then we noticed like a lot of the photographs are digitally altered. Like, you know, where's the cutoff? I think that's, I don't know enough about the whole genre to say, okay, you know, digital art is separate from photography at this point, you know, all that sort of stuff. So we just said, let's just do digital art and photography. Well, if you look at the show, we got a huge number of submissions in digital art and photography, a huge number, like way more than painting. This is the first year there has been another category that had more than painting or works on paper. They're usually pretty even, but digital art and photography had a ton. Some of it was film photography. A lot of it was just pure digital art. And then some is the digital photography digitally enhanced some way or changed. So I think that was another thing. I think we saw a lot of that because of COVID. I think the students, you know, they've been working on their computers a lot more. And it just really wouldn't surprise me that's why we saw more digital art this year.
And I think we'll see more of it going forward because that's what kids do.
Yeah, I know. It's they're used to working on computers. They're on it all the time. And, you know, I think there's some very interesting stuff that comes out of it.
But I don't think there's another show around where you can see digital art made by, or, digital art, period. That's hard to come by locally.
Bill Jersey began his drawing career at 10 years of age because I was not allowed to go to movies. I was not allowed to go to dances. I was not allowed to go to parties with awful non-Christians. So I just went up to my room and I drew. So that's how I got started drawing. Certainly a pleasure to work with the youth of those young people, because they're not children. If they are children, they're enormously talented and beyond their age. I just thought it was really, I hate to say this because I didn't get paid a lot. And, you know, if you don't get paid, then you're not valued much in this crazy society. But it was a pleasure. I really did. I spent way more time than I would normally do on a paying job to look at that work, to try and make a decision. It was an impossible decision. That, it's like almost every one of those kids should get an award. And I hope they get an award. I hope my appreciation of their work is at least some award for them. Is I didn't just want to pick the ones that I thought were good. I wanted to try and pick ones that I thought deserved recognition. Whether it was my kind of work or not. So that was the hardest part. The hardest part is to pick something that is not necessarily something you would want to buy, because almost any of them, I would say most of them, I'd be happy to hang on my wall. But I try to pick the ones that I would lay out hard cash for, I would invest in. And because I think that's the challenge for anybody who wants to become a professional artist, as I have sometimes regrettably become. You have to learn to do work that is sellable if you want to sell. The awards I most appreciate were given to me by Georgia University, and they were awards given for the merit of the work, not because it was better than X, Y, or Z, as the Academy and the Emmys are. Now, I got Academy Awards and I got Emmys, but the Georgia Awards were so much more valued to me because they were based on the intrinsic merit of the work. And that's the way I looked at the kids' work. Did it have intrinsic merit? Not did it look like something? Did it fit a theme? No. It's fantastic. Self-editing is probably the worst kind of editing that God ever invented, because what happens is you have some preconceived notion of what you should have done, and a preconceived notion of what you should do is always a distortion of what you should do. So if that's the criticism, then I say, yeah, you're right, and that was great. Is do what you love to do, keep questioning whether you could do better, but let the questions come from you, and let your attempts to be better. Once you've done the best you can do, or you feel it's the best you can do, then it's fine to get some reaction of others. But be very careful to let your work be judged by the opinions or impressions of others. That's their point of view. They have a right to their point of view, and their point of view may be very wise in terms of commercial value. So I don't dismiss the points of view of others, but I do not let the points of others guide my work. I would have loved most of all if what could have happened is that each of the individual artists could have stood before me, showed me their work, and tell me why it mattered why they wanted to submit it. Because I love interpersonal relationships. The anonymous selecting of works is, it was fun, and I'm glad I did it, and I hope that it had some merit. But it would have been so much more fun to meet the young people themselves. Keep doing what you're doing, because what you're doing is worth doing.
Hi, I'm Annika Crawford, and this is my painting Alton, which is an oil painting that also includes vines and plastic. Going into this piece, I was really interested in exploring the human relationship to permanence and memory, which really is a conflict throughout human history. How do we stay remembered, even after death? How do we confront mortality? And I think about portraiture's role as a solution to that, a way to preserve life and people. I understand mortality through the cycles of life and nature. I spend a lot of time walking around the forests in Bucks County, and I come across little things that people have thrown away. Newspapers, old watches, bones. And the strange thing is, I never seem to come across the same thing twice. It's almost as if, from dust to dust, the forest swallowed it back up. And there's no truer symbol to me of this forgetting, of this erasure, of this melting back into time than liana vines, because I always see them in the densest parts of the forest, growing from everything, swinging from every tree, choking out life. They're like these invincible, inevitable creatures. And so I thought it was very meaningful to frame this portrait of Alton, this preservation of him, with liana vines, showing portrait's power to ward away forgetting, perhaps temporarily, but still. These vines I cut from the forests that I frequent, and I secured them to the canvas by poking holes in the sides with a screwdriver and slipping twine through and knotting the vines in bundles. But going back to this relationship with permanence and memory, I further showed the limits of my portrait itself with this hole in the canvas. It's covered by plastic, a reference to discarded things. And this plastic, it's both a window and a reflection, which I think is a lot like the human soul, especially in its fragility. And it invites viewers to look into their own lives and their own relationship with permanence, memory, mortality, and portraiture.
Hi, my name is Caroline Coleman. I go to Central Bucks West and I won the Works on Paper category. So my piece, Repetitive Mornings, is part of my ongoing sustained investigation. So basically my SI theme is about monotony in today's society and my personal experience growing up watching myself and everyone around me kind of fall into these exhausting routines. So this piece in particular is about waking up at the same time every morning, and my goal was to depict these emotions through the movement and the detail and the contrast of the piece. So these are my sketches that I had. And I kind of just experimented with different angles and different mediums. And then I took my reference photo, which is this. And I kind of wanted to choose a medium that dramatized my piece, which is why I went with my black paper and white charcoal combination, because I felt like it gave the most depth and contrast. So yeah, pretty much it all just came together, and I had a lot of fun making this piece with the help of Mrs. Levin and my little AP art family at school. So yeah, thank you guys.
Hi everybody, this is Mrs. Levin from Central Bucks High School West. We are so proud of Caroline Coleman for her amazing achievement.
Congratulations, Caroline! Love you so much.
We're so proud of you. Hi, my name is Anna Williamson, and I created the three-dimensional piece titled Nest. This piece was created from masking tape and stands on a wood base. I used the masking tape to make different sized cones that I connected together to make the main form of the sculpture. I then attached it to the wooden base using wire to hold it up. I created this work as a part of my sustained investigation, exploring how my sculptures highlight the presence of natural patterns using repetitive 3D forms.
It's so incredible for the students to see their work, publicly for the larger community or across the United States or internationally. It's like having your work displayed in a gallery at this historic mill. So, I think some of the students and families may or may not know the historic nature of the mill and what an important institution it is and community it is. So, there's an extra flavor of that with students starting out, whether or not they stay in the arts or they pursue a business career and they do arts on the side. But it's an introduction to the mill and the artist community, whether it's drama and all the various venues. So I think that's really kind of unique and important.
I find it very colorful, exciting, varied. The subject matter is so varied, and but every year I think it's like that. Every show is so unique. I love the show.
Please watch it, please see it, look at it, thank the sponsors, thank the teachers, and most of all, thanks the students.
Yes.
Thank you all, student artists, for having the courage to put your stuff out there. It takes a lot of guts.
Yeah, it does. Send the link to everybody.